Welcome to another episode of Tea from the Galaxy, a thirst-quenching podcast for the girls, gays, theys, and astrology baes, where we talk about everything and anything through an astrological lens. So today's episode was a long-awaited episode. From when I first started this podcast and I was thinking of certain people I wanted to bring on the podcast, obviously everyone who I bring on to this podcast are people who inspire me. So when I'm thinking about things I wanted to talk about, topics, real life experiences, guests that I wanted to bring on, top people I wanted to bring on was one of my best friends, Maya. We've been friends for about 15 years, and I really wanted her to talk about her experience in the Peace Corps, living in Costa Rica. She's been living in Costa Rica for almost 2 years now. And I just think that is such a rare experience, an inspiring experience, such a bucket list item type of experience, an experience that I don't know anyone else who has, to be honest. I know a good amount of people who always said they wanted to join the Peace Corps, but never did it. And I know a good amount of people who still would like to do the Peace Corps, but are kind of scared. So I definitely wanted to bring her on and to talk about her experience with it, the process of entering the Peace Corps, what was her reasonings as to why she wanted to enter the Peace Corps, the inspiration behind it. I will say the last 20 minutes of this podcast did get cut. Our mics just cut. I think they died. So we did lose the ending of this footage, but most of the ending was her giving shout outs to people and kind of reiterating the people who inspire her and the people who support her are able to help her during this journey of being in the Peace Corps, so her friends and her family and stuff like that. So if you are listening or watching this podcast, you're one of Maya's peoples, and you're like, damn, she didn't even give me a shout out. She didn't even mention me. She definitely did. The footage just got cut. I wasn't able to revive the audio from that. Another reason that I wanted to bring her on this podcast to talk about her experience in Costa Rica is because she resides in Nicoya, which is one of the 5 blue zone locations. So if you don't know what blue zone locations are, they are places in the world with the healthiest, longest living populations. So one of them is Nicoya, Costa Rica. I wanted to not only go out there to visit her, we did this podcast episode because we were out there visiting her, but I wanted to also kind of experience the way of life out there and the diet out there, the food out there, the people out there, the environment, the culture, because I was very curious. The blue zone locations are very intriguing to me. I firsthand was able to experience kind of the way of living out there, which it is so beautiful. It's so peaceful. The people are very hospitable and welcoming. The food is great. I'm excited for you guys to listen to this episode, and let's just get into it. Today, I have one of my best friends, Maya, here.
Hello.
One of my longest friends. You are my longest friend, actually.
Yeah.
We've been friends since I was 12.
7th grade.
Yes, and you just turned
28.
28, literally yesterday. Recording live straight from Costa Rica in the van. This is our last day, basically. We waited the whole trip to do this.
It wasn't like we had amazing moments.
Didn't even have time because we were just having a good time. And living in the moment. But this morning has been a shit show trying to get this together. That's why we are in the van. The moment that we were ready, it started downpouring. There's 4 of us here in Costa Rica right now. Me, Maya, Jasmine. She's sitting in the front. Amanda is behind the camera. This is this is a real production that's happening. Surfboard in between us, camera on the luggage, speed bump. This is real. This is real and this is live. So this has been an episode that I wanted to record since even before I put out the podcast. I knew that I wanted you on here, talk about life in Costa Rica, doing the Peace Corps. I think it's awesome that you're doing this. I wish I did something like this, but I don't have the balls like you. So Sagittarius Queen. I wanted to talk about your experience. I think other people would love to know about it, hear about it. People who are curious about the Peace Corps. I think it's nice to hear a perspective of someone who's in it and been in it for almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
You're hitting the 2-year mark. Couple questions I like asking all my guests on my podcast. You can answer all of them, none of them, whatever you feel comfortable, but this is to just get to know you a little better. Your age,
which you just said it, your pronouns, your big three, because this is an astrology podcast, and your sexual identity.
I'm 28, she, her. I'm a Sagittarius sun, Libra rising, Gemini moon, and
Ooh.
I am complicated and picky.
I like that. I like that identity.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the Peace Corps?
An official Peace Corps term is about 2.5 years. The process is like completely probably about just under 3 years. Like when you start your Peace Corps application, it takes a while. You have to go through a lot of a medical process, an interview process. But I officially got to Costa Rica in March.
Of 2024.
Of 2024. And then we leave May to June of 2026. I put an extension application in, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so you're still in between if you're staying or you're going back home.
Yeah.
So you're not sure yet.
Yeah.
But basically you have to hit until May.
Yeah. You have to, you can leave as early as May 1st or as late, I believe, as June 30th. I think I'm going to stay a little bit longer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really liking it here. I mean, who am I to leave early from Costa Rica? It's a beautiful country.
It is beautiful. Being here, they really emphasize a slow life and living in the present and simple life, pura vida. And
yes,
that has
pura vida.
Coming from America where everything is like so hustle, bustle, like on the go, coming here is exactly what I needed because I felt so burnt out in the States. And then coming here, it's like, okay, why are you in a rush? Like, just relax. So I don't blame you for wanting to stay.
Yeah.
To be honest.
A little resistant to the way we move in America.
Exactly.
Yeah. And honestly, the craziest thing is, as anyone who knows me knows that I move pretty quickly and I'm very lax even in my life in America. Mm-hmm. Like I am doing a lot. I always had like a couple jobs on hand. Even when I had the store, I was doing a few jobs. But like,
yeah, I used to have a thrift store in Jersey.
Yes. So after you thrift co, if you remember. So even when I was doing that, I've always had, that, and I've been side quests and sports, and like, I do move pretty fast, but I'm also still so lax, like still made time to get out and surf, go for runs, find, time. So I thought that I was living a very calm, I guess like that's like comical, but calm and not like, because my life wasn't centered around like my 9-to-5 job. Yeah. So I thought I was already living this like really cool, different type of life. Then I came here just to find out like, you're moving way too fast. Like one thing, even for a weekend, is a lot. Like their event on the weekend is definitely going to church, seeing family. That's a relaxed day. You don't move if you don't have to move. Where in Jersey, your Saturday and Sunday is for like anything you couldn't get done during the week, going to see friends, going out to dinner. So, but also I live in rural Costa Rica. This is not to be the complete picture of the whole country. Like,
where do you reside in Costa Rica?
So I'm in the Guanacaste province. I live near Nicoya. And that area is very like rural. Even when they put me here, they were like, don't go falling in love with a cowboy like the caballeros. And I was like, what do you mean? And now that I'm here, I know what they mean. I didn't know I was such a city girl until they put me in the farmland.
That was like a culture shock, I feel like, a tad bit.
Yeah.
Because we visited her home for one day. So basically the four of us, we came here to visit Maya. But we came straight to Dominical, which is, how would you describe it? Like a little surf town?
Yeah, it's like a nice, sleepy,
on the beach,
surf beach town.
Then we drove to where she stays.
5 hours.
We were, literally 5 hours. And we were like, oh shit, this is completely different. This is like the farmland. And when you're put in an environment like that, you are forced to have a slower life.
Yeah.
Like you need to take like your bus schedule, for example. Like if you want to go to the beach, like you have to plan that in advance. It's a whole day affair. It's not like you can just get in your car. I mean, specifically for the Peace Corps because you can't drive.
Yes. That. And people have cars here. Not everything is as hard for them sometimes as it is for me, but there are things that are hard for some people, like the reality of taking public transit the way it is for me. But yeah, because of that, it's like, I was so resistant at first. Like if I wanted to go to the beach, because that's kind of my like idea of like a safe place, relaxation. I love that. I'm close enough to get on a bus to go to the beach. But if I missed a bus, there's no buses on the weekend. That was the thing that got me. So if I wanted to go on a Saturday, there's one bus, I think, at 6 a.m. So I'd be waking up at like 5:30 and I'd do it. But then the bus leaves from the main city at 8. So I'm sitting there for like a while. And all of that was hard because it's inconvenient. And if I missed that bus, I'd have to walk like a mile to the other bus stop. And sometimes that bus would come. I mean, if you're in Peace Corps, you know the buses are never where and when and what they say they are. So if that bus, there's times where I would sit at the bus stop for 3 hours. I call Jasmine crying. I'm like, I don't understand. When is the bus going to come? I just want to go to the beach. And I'm just sitting there like, not even to get to the beach. This is to get to the place, to get to the bus, to go to the beach. So I was like, the first couple of months got me so hard. I was so resistant, as opposed to being like, okay, this bus didn't come. Like, I'm not going to the beach today. I fought it so much because I really value autonomy and being able to do what I want to do.
Yeah, Sag Queen. You just want to get up and go and do what you want. And I think being in this environment, you were kind of forced to ground yourself a little bit, slow it down, and just be with yourself. But also something that I noticed about where you live too, it's just so different than being in the States. Like you had your chicken.
Yes,
Chichi with her eggs. And then I remember you got like pastries and you said, if I see my neighbor outside, I'm just going to give it to her. You know, like it's more of a community. You get to know your neighbors. You become family with your neighbors. And I think that is a part of American culture that is lost or has gotten lost over the years.
It's like you don't even want to know your neighbors. You don't take the time to talk. And there are some communities that do that, but like, where is the block party? We're like, it's so fear-based, you know? We're here, it's not. They're like, their doors are open and the people are just like inviting.
Yeah.
They don't have much. They're going to still offer you what they have.
Yeah. Even your coworker,
Victor,
hosted us for lunch. And it was such a beautiful, like, Costa Rican lunch with starfruit juice. Showed us his fruit trees in the back. It was very inviting. And warm,
Victor's a homie.
Did you know you were going to come to Costa Rica? Got your assignment? Or like, how do you figure out where you're going to go? Or is it just like you apply for the Peace Corps and you're like, wherever I go, I'm going? Or did you pick Costa Rica?
No. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. Costa Rica, it's almost like in college, there was this like Beatles music class. So if you signed up for the Beatles music class, it was like, you might not get it because like everyone wanted to take that class. So Costa Rica was that of the Peace Corps. Like it's one of the nicest places. Like people are always applying to come to Costa Rica because it's still pretty developed. It's a tourist destination. I applied to go to Montenegro in Europe. That was my initial like application. I wanted to, it was still the same job, English education. But I wanted to go to Montenegro because I was like, this will be a nice bridge between like somewhere I haven't been, learning a completely different language and still being a little bit more in a place that's like developed. Like there's the extremities. Like you can go there, you can go to Fiji. Like my friend is going to Uganda next, Zane.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and there's just so many different options. You can still go random, but you will end up in a random country, like for real random. I applied for Montenegro, didn't get Montenegro because the country was only accepting 6 applicants. So I didn't get Montenegro, and instead they pushed me forward to, and that'll usually happen, they pushed me forward to Costa Rica. And they offered me Costa Rica as a secondary education teacher. I was like, oh, I didn't even know it was an option. So I was like, who am I to say no to Costa Rica? It'll be really great to work on my Spanish. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to Costa Rica. Yeah. there were some things like kind of being thrown in beforehand, like throughout the year. That was like my friend Noah was telling me about how he went surfing in Costa Rica. All of like our whole friendship, he would tell me about that. I would see videos of like the waves in Costa Rica. Someone was telling me about a trip they had gone on to Costa Rica. And like, I was just like, oh, you know, it's so beautiful. Like, that sounds awesome. And then like, I get offered Costa Rica.
Got little like pieces of foreshadowing moments before it happened. It's like the universe was preparing you for Costa Rica.
It was warming me up to the idea.
So what is the process? You described it a little bit at the beginning of the video, but what is the process if someone is like turns around and said that they want to do the Peace Corps? What's the next step after that realization?
Okay, so you want to do the Peace Corps. You're interested in Peace Corps. Maybe you will reach out to a representative. Like there's Peace Corps representatives that you can talk to. You can always shoot an email. They'll give you more information. I was super involved in a Peace Corps prep class in college. So I was already like, I had known I wanted to do Peace Corps since high school. Like we learned about Peace Corps and I would have gone straight to Peace Corps instead of college if it was an option. But your resume looks a lot better with college, and my mom was not going to let that happen. After you do your application, you can choose your country. Sometimes there's issues, a lot of medical issues happen. If you have like sometimes mental health, like the reality of like the hardest part of the application is the like vetting process. They want to make sure that you're healthy. Honestly, I was talking to a friend about this, that we think that they make it really hard to like get in because they're like, we want to know that you're going to show up, because they'll pay for your flight. They're going to cover everything once you are in. And sometimes people will drop. Like even in our group, we had 3 people drop right before we were supposed to go to Florida. Florida is like the meeting place. Then we fly out together. So I think they make it. People get cold feet or different, job opportunities or family things happen. But the process is insane. I had to go to the doctor so many times and email the doctor. Like they knew me by name. And I was
Maya's here again.
Getting contacts for like 6 months, 6 and 12-month contacts, getting two pairs of glasses because I have glasses. Everything had to get sorted out, still having to do the interview process. So it happens over a series of months.
Do you apply for a certain job position or that's random too?
No, you can apply. So the position and the country will have certain things. So Peace Corps has education, health, youth development, economy, like economic development, and environmental development. So Costa Rica doesn't need an environmental development, volunteer, because they're so sustainable and eco-friendly already. Like they're really about preserving the nature.
Yeah, I realize that being here. Yeah. Even the garbage system, everywhere you go, it's plastic, trash, aluminum. Yeah. What's the other one? Paper.
Yeah. Besides the development of like literally, gentrification, it's all good.
Yeah. That is definitely something we will touch upon. But first I wanted to ask, so you said that you always knew that you wanted to go in the Peace Corps since high school. Why? What was the calling? Like what? Because I remember, like when I said I've been friends with Maya since we're 12. I remember her talking about it in high school. So this was always a dream of yours. That's why I'm so happy as a friend watching you live this out and like kind of cross off your bucket list and live this experience. But I don't think I don't remember the reasoning. Like what was the light bulb moment of, oh, I want to do the Peace Corps in my life?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can't talk about this without talking about Mr. Thumb.
Mr. Thumb.
Mr. Thumb. Shout out to Mr. Thumb and also Mr. Romano. I know he'd get like upset.
So these are high school teachers.
These are our high school teachers.
Love them.
Mr. Thumb was my AVID teacher. He was my high school AVID teacher. AVID was like a program I was in for 4 years. If you know AVID. His teaching style was very focused on like critical thinking, and, assessing different types of lifestyles. So when I had him, he was also my history teacher. So I remember being in class with him, having class, I believe, with Romano too.
I remember specifically Thumb teaching just a lot of things that would never be taught in a normal academic curriculum. I think Romano stuck more to like the book, and then after class we would talk about cool stuff, but Thumb was like, my whole lesson today is going to be revolved around
But like
fair trade chocolate.
it was the Kennedy. It was like when we were learning about Kennedy. I just can't remember.
I want to say that
that was Romano.
Not Romano. I'm going to say that was them. We learned a lot of American history in them, and then we learned a lot of world history in Romano's class.
Yes. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But I believe like in Mr. Thumb's class, we were learning about JFK and then like the creation of the Peace Corps. Peace Corps in Costa Rica just celebrated, I think, 60 years last year when I first got here. So it was one of the first locations for Peace Corps. Yeah. And I had already been me and Jasmine were so into van life at the time. And, you know, Mr. Thumb had gotten us into like this surfing and like my mom still to this day is like, Mr. Thumb, like,
you know, I never had these teachers. I feel like I got like the worst fucking teachers. It's so interesting that you had a teacher that impacted this, and then you turned around to be a teacher in Costa Rica. Like, it's so important. Like, teachers are so important. You're helping raise children, like the next generation. I wish I could say I had a similar experience.
Yes, he was definitely like my dad.
So I actually have no idea what, like,
that experience. Yeah. Like there was one time where we were like in class and he turned the lights off and we all laid on our desks and listened to sounds, and it was just like to help us like kind of meditate. Like we did a meditation. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of things he would do. So when we learned about Peace Corps, I was like, this is really cool. And I was always volunteering. My family was really tied into like the church and volunteering and giving back. Like I was in a soup kitchen since I was like 10 years old. Like I remember being really, really involved in community from a young age. Mm-hmm. So when I heard about Peace Corps, it just seemed like such a natural, cool, you know, way to be a part of something and also take a next step in like with your future, because there's also a lot of like things you get back. Like they'll pay for your masters. People who go to Peace Corps, you know, go on to do really cool work. So it's like you're connected. The networking opportunities through Peace Corps are really good. And I always loved that.
Yeah, I love that. It's like a win-win. Yeah. Like you give back, but also there's perks to it. You also get to travel.
So that happened around like, I think sophomore or junior year, and then cut to like 3 years later, I'm going into college. I meet Frank Cipriani. He is my first year seminar teacher. My first year seminar is Peace Corps. So Peace Corps as my first year seminar class, I am in that class. Frank Cipriani is awesome. He was one of the coolest teachers also that I had, and he advocated so hard for me and his students. And we had a peer leadership advisor in our class who was going to Peace Corps the next year. So her name was Liz. Liz goes to Peace Corps Morocco the next year. I take the Peace Corps class. In the Peace Corps class, we're learning how to do fire by friction. We're learning how to make like acorn bread. We're learning. He's so cool. He brought us to a Native American like tribe for one of our classes, and we like helped do some gardening. It was really cool. He is connected.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then in that following year, Liz goes to Peace Corps in Morocco. I'm now Liz as a peer leadership for the first year seminar class. Mm-hmm. With that, I get the opportunity to visit Liz for 10 days in Morocco.
Yeah.
That was like the start of the like, this is definitely happening. I always knew I wanted to do it, but this is definitely happening. I visited Liz. I saw Morocco, rural Morocco. Like when I got there, they had to introduce me to like the leaders of the town. I didn't have a ring on. They're asking me who I belonged to, if I was married.
Interesting.
They're very, very traditional, you know.
You gotta be covered up and everything too, right?
Yes. So it was so awesome. The food was amazing. The tea was amazing. I did 10 days like that. What I learned from that situation, bring a projector. One of the things I brought with me to Peace Corps that actually took up space in my luggage is a projector because of Liz. Yeah.
Wait, why a projector?
Because you spend a lot of time alone. And so she had pre-downloaded a bunch of movies. And like, it's just you in a room sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I had the projector to watch movies.
Okay. So this was the start. That was the so you had the idea, you were like, ooh, I'm feeling this. And then when you actually visited Liz in Morocco, you were like, yeah, I'm doing this.
It shaped it a lot more. You know, especially because of the way Cipriani did it. He's like, here's your ticket. go. I don't speak the language. Thank God Liz just was at the airport when I got there. She helped with all of the bridging of like getting the ride and everything. She spoke the language. People would come up to me because I'm brown and start speaking to me in Arabic. And she would be like, actually, shalem. And I would be like, yeah, like, and they're like, oh my gosh, so surprised.
The language?
Yeah, she spoke the language really, really well. She's just like this blonde, thin, white girl with and she spoke great Arabic, and they'd be like, how do you know?
Do you have to learn the language of where you're going before you enter the Peace Corps? Or is that a piece that you can learn while doing the Peace Corps? Like you can learn the native language of the country that you're at?
Yeah, language requirement, or language knowledge not required. It helped that I knew some Spanish and came from a Spanish background when I came here, but my Spanish was not perfect. I'm a New Jersey Puerto Rican, so we don't speak a lot of Spanish. Liz definitely didn't know Arabic before she went into Morocco, and she learned it. You spend your first 3 months when you arrive practicing and learning and spending time just like in one place with all of the other volunteers. So I got here, landed, we stayed in San Jose, 3 months of just like classes, language learning, cultural learning, before they canceled DEI, cultural connectivity, and like being able to communicate with locals and having those interactions.
So that was one of your hardest parts, right?
Yes.
The transition, moving into Costa Rica. And that 3 month, basically boot camp, I feel like, preparing you to be in Costa Rica. Yeah.
Yes. And I forgot that I didn't really love being in school like that. So I was back in classes and I did not love that. I almost quit several times because of it. Had to walk up and down the hill. I had stomach problems. I had E. coli like 3 times. Like the medical aspects. I almost passed out so many times from the heat. I couldn't do the heat in San Jose, and that was rough because then after that, they proceeded to put me in Guanacaste, which is hotter than San Jose. So when I got to Guanacaste, I was like constantly almost passing out.
Yeah, I remember that when you kept getting sick and I was like, Maya, is this a sign? You shouldn't be there. Like your body is rejecting Costa Rica, literally. Yeah.
And in reality, when I think about it, I think I was detoxing America.
I said that too at first, but then it was prolonging and I was like,
I mean, but think about it, how long it takes for your body to get fucked up by America. Like I've lived in America my whole life. That's lots of chemicals, lots of, what is it called? Preservatives in your body.
Yeah, for sure. Because even me being here, when I live in the States, I'm mostly on a gluten, dairy-free diet. Being here, I was like, okay, let me like experiment. Let me have some things with flour, some things with dairy. I haven't been going ham, but I've definitely been eating things with gluten and dairy. And I don't feel how I would feel in the States. Yeah, for sure.
I was detoxing. I also got E. coli a couple times. Yeah. Got stung by scorpion twice.
Oh, yeah. Costa Rica things.
Costa Rica things.
What do you do when you get stung by a scorpion?
Cry. It was, so when I got stung the first time, I was asleep and I just felt like the hardest, like it was like if someone stuck a needle in my toe. And it woke me from my sleep. And I just remember seeing something and I went like, that. And it just like threw. And I was like, that's a scorpion. I knew it was a scorpion. A week before that happened, my host mom was showing me my room. It was very early in me living there. And I was like, there's a scorpion in my room. And she's like, no, there's no scorpion. I was like, I saw it. And so we start going through like some of the stuff. And I was convinced there was a scorpion. I made her, and I feel bad, but I couldn't sleep like that. We lifted up both, like there was like 3 beds stacked on top of each other. I took all my stuff out. We're going through all the beds. Everything is off. Everything is up. I found the scorpion that day, and only for like a couple weeks later to get stung on my foot by another scorpion. Tongue went numb. My arm went numb. I had like, I don't know if it was Benadryl or what, but he was like, just take this for a couple of days. My leg was numb. And yeah, I had an allergic reaction.
I would have been freaking out. That would have been my 13th reason. I'm like, I'm going back to the States. You're brave, for real, that you stayed. I would have been like, I'm going home. There was a roach in our hotel room where we were staying, and me and Amanda could not go to sleep. I have a sneaker in one hand and off spray with the other. And it would just squirm and we would scream.
Yeah.
So a fucking scorpion. Yeah.
That was one of the things that got me because remember when I sent you guys the picture of the cockroach and it could fly and it was literally the size of an egg. It was so big.
Yeah, that's wild. The culture shock moving here, the 3-month boot camp. What would you say were the hardest things other than that coming here? I guess we can mention like the culture part of it.
I think for me, the culture didn't hurt as bad because I come from a Latin background. So,
yeah,
you know, being able to talk to people and like being very affectionate and being very, like understanding, like there's a bit of gender roles here too, depending on like, you know, certain families. Like there were volunteers whose families were very, very religious. They would go to church with them. There are some families who they're religious and they aren't as accepting as we are in America. LGBTQ, women's, you know, rights, wearing no bra, things like that, that were just like the freedom that you have and the comfort that we have in America. It can change, you know, like when you're here, it's going to change. There's different ways of being. That was a little bit hard in the beginning because.
Do you think because Catholicism influences the culture here?
Yeah. There's a really big, heavy Catholic influence.
Yeah.
There's also a really big LGBTQ population. I went to Pride. That was beautiful and big and fun and cool. My I have really good host parents. They didn't care about me going to Pride. They don't, you know, they knew that I had volunteer friends who were also gay and like, you know, but then there would be other volunteer parents who didn't feel the same way. And, you know, some volunteers will feel more comfortable keeping everything to themselves. And, you know, every person has to adjust accordingly. But yeah, I don't know, because I think like I'm coming from New Jersey as a Puerto Rican, Peruvian woman. And I understand, like I was raised with a lot of gender stereotypes. Like I know how to cook, clean, you know, take care of the family and the kids. Like, I had my Cinderella moment.
Foundational knowledge.
Yeah. So like I would go into the kitchen with my host family and I would feel comfortable making myself food. I would clean up. Like I got to this house, cleaned the entire room, cleaned the entire kitchen of this other woman's house because I was like, I cannot, like, I need to know where everything is and I need it to be clean. And and she didn't care. She would let me cook. They were like, this is your home. Yeah. Other volunteers didn't have that same experience. Louise and Marjorie were beautiful.
So when you say host family, that's the family that took you in when you first moved to Costa Rica?
Yes. When I spent my first 3 months in San Jose, I stayed with the host family.
And every person who enters the Peace Corps gets a host family.
Yeah. Like my host family, I just had 2 parents. My friend Marlena, her host family was the 2 parents. And then I think they had 2 daughters. So she had like kids, and like in her other host family, when she got to her site that she would stay the rest of her time in, they have 2 sons and a daughter that she lives with. Yeah. She's getting a whole family experience. Yeah. Like I'll go to Marlena's house and I'm like, immediately reminded of my life when I was living with my family in high school. Yeah. Like, it's so funny. I'll be there and she's like they love her. Like her host family loves her and they love me by proxy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's also a perk of entering the Peace Corps too, rather than just like traveling, right? Like you live in the community. You get to meet the people of the country. You're not just traveling and staying at a hotel or traveling and staying at an all-inclusive. Like you're living deep in the culture.
Yes.
So being that you hear the experiences of the native Costa Ricans that live here, what is it like having people from Europe, from America, from Canada kind of starting to make their way down here, especially me living in Florida, in South Florida? There's a lot of people who come out to Costa Rica. They do retreats and stuff like that. What is the opinion on that? Like, are the Costa Ricans open to people coming here? Or are they kind of like, what are you doing to my land? Like, what are you doing to my home? Do they like that? Do they not like that? What's your experience or outlook on it?
That's a really loaded question. Like, it's a double-edged sword. You know, the economy does really well when you have tourism.
Yeah.
Guanacaste specifically, like my co-partner at the school is a tourism teacher. So we teach English tourism together. It helps our students get to practice speaking English because if they go into tourism, they're going to be talking to people who speak English. And at the beginning, I felt a little bit weird because it's like I'm going to another country, I'm teaching them English, and it's like you're almost like teaching your culture, your language. But I also have traveled around Costa Rica enough to know like English is the medium. It's like the median language. Like that is the middle ground. There are people who come from Europe. They don't speak Spanish, but they do speak English. You know, if they're German, they speak English. So they're not like, is it better to have to learn German, French, like every other language? Yeah. Or like, because we have a universal, it's English, you know?
Yeah.
That they learned that. And so then there becomes a little bit more of opportunity to make some money and to work. And the line that gets a little bit weird, especially as a teacher, is like the line of the capitalistic mentality. So I'll tell my students like, you know, we have to practice, we have to study hard, and we have to do this so you can work hard. And it's like, they don't want to do that. They're like, whoa, like,
they're like, whoa, man, take it easy.
They're like, take it easy. Like, and it's, even being in high school in America, having to learn Spanish, and Spanish is really important in America. And we didn't want to learn that. My Spanish is not perfect. So I don't hold my students to a super high like level. But if I have students who do want the effort and to learn more, we work one-on-one together. Mm-hmm. So the culture here is so open and so nice and so friendly. And yes, Pura Vida is real. But at the same time, when you go to those places that are tourist hotspots and you see the people who are profiting the most from that are not locals and are not native people, that sucks. So I don't love to see that happening. Yeah. I don't like to see it happen in Jersey. Those places are expensive. Like if you even bring up Santa Teresa, the Costa Ricans don't go there. That is tourism. That is like completely like a touristic area.
That's like when we walked into one of those boutiques in Dominicao.
Yeah.
And that journal was $52 US.
Yeah.
Like, who is buying this? It is a thin line because, you know, everyone's on the search for like Pura Vida, right? So then when people find it and then they fall in love with it, it's the taking it over part of it. And the profiting from it that is a turn off. I feel like I feel like if you want to live like a slow life, or this is the vibe that your soul is being called to live in, then you should be one with the culture instead of making your own.
I have like an interesting perspective too, because I do have a lot of friends on both sides. So I have friends that are Costa Rican locals. And then I have friends, because I live in Guanacaste tourism. I have friends who moved here, and I have friends from Argentina, from Canada. The idea is like, oh, they're coming here and they're becoming a part of the culture. Like they're actually working, and it is not easy to go from your homeland and your hometown and be in a new place because you feel way more connected. Like my friend, me and Kendall have spoken about this so at length so much, and she doesn't want to live where she used to live. And the jump between here, it could like the safe thing is almost like the rite of passage, like not doing the safe thing. Like the safe thing would be going home and staying in your comfort area, not sitting in Costa Rica during the rainy season where there's mold and there's flooding. And that's the hard thing, because you want to be in a place that's like open and free and fruitful, like literally fruitful. And, just having a different life. It's not like those types of people, and those people are not making that negative impact, you know? Mm-hmm. I think it's completely different than like someone who comes and wants to do like, I don't know, like some kind of retreat or like a cow. They have this like one yoga retreat and whatever. Besides the point, when that happens, and what they do is like trying to avoid all of the inconvenience, uncomfortable parts of being here. That's where I'm like, that's not actually like when you think about Costa Rica and how it used to be, like what it is, like that's very different. I think that when I talk to a lot of people, they'll say like that's changed about Costa Rica. Like there's a lot more of that hippie vibe here now, and beautiful and fun and amazing. And like, that's a cool opportunity. And there's a really big like Rasta code. Like there's a lot of different subcultures that exist in Costa Rica.
We even saw it at our hotel last night. The whole day it was like the hippies were out.
Yes.
They were out. They were dancing. They were singing.
Then you had like there was beach hippies and the beach people that
the surfers.
Yeah, the surf hippies. Like there are so many subgroups of people.
Yeah. What are some of the, I guess, the pros and cons of being out here and being a part of the Peace Corps?
I think being a part of Peace Corps, right? I'll start positively. If you're the type of person who likes to travel, really values authenticity, that is a really important part. Because it's not just like you get to travel somewhere and now you're in a new place and you know, everything works fine and, you know, you can still be yourself in a new place. And it's like, no, you can bring yourself into this new place, but you can't impose your perspective and you can't impose how people should act and what they should do. Or else, and if you do, it's just like you keep butting heads with the culture and with the reality of where you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to just like melt a little into it.
I was going to say, you have to like completely adapt.
Yes. So if you're not someone who, like, I really love the authentic experience of going and living and eating and communicating how people do. And it is hard, but that's why I stayed still, because I really like the hard. I embrace the hard shit. It's
you knew
fun.
that was the only way for growth to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you